Is gentrification inevitable? Boy, that was just... Thank you so much for that question. That brings me right back to this...
It was my question, by the way.
Well, thank you so very much. Back to the stabilization policy that we're talking about. We can't clear-cut San Francisco and turn it into something other than what it is now and what we love about San Francisco. I had lunch with Gabe Metcalf from Spark about a year ago. Wanted to talk about some of my crazy ideas about community involvement in the planning process. And after about 45 minutes, I found myself standing over him, yelling at him, "Why do you hate San Francisco so much?" The beauty of San Francisco is the entire balance, the whole blend of people who make this a wonderful city. Sure, there are going to be wealthy people, and there are going to be middle-income people, but the city is not meaningful at all unless we also have the artists and the workers and the senior citizens and all of the others who go into making this city work so well. The stabilization policy that we're talking about would preserve the balance. And again, I have to remind you, you have to choose the candidate that you vote for very carefully, because there are a lot of interests who are funding campaigns right now who would vote against the stabilization policy and turn this into a bedroom community for the Silicon Valley. Thank you.
My name is Teresa Sparks again, and you know, I think we need to remember that the diversity in this city is actually one of the cornerstones of the character of the city. We need to maintain the diversity from all socioeconomic areas, also sexual orientation, ethnic, racial, etc. That's what makes San Francisco San Francisco. We cannot let any neighborhood become gentrified. We can't let, and what we need to do is on the new developments, in addition to not only the Tenderloin, but the new developments would make sure we have enough mixed income housing that those new developments don't become gentrified or don't become very vanilla and single population as far as socioeconomic level. The Tenderloin we have to maintain as a community where immigrant families and new families can find affordable housing. We have to. There is no alternative. In addition, we need to make sure there are those areas of the city, not only in District 6, not only in the Tenderloin, but in other districts of the city, so that we have low-cost housing, we have affordable housing, we have below-market rate housing, so that we can have a rich diversity in every area of the city, not just District 6. Positives and negatives of gentrification. I don't know that anybody would use the term gentrification as a positive resource in the city. Particularly the whole term. In some cities, they refer to gentrification as an ethnic group going in, or as a racial group going in. Here, though, we need to maintain the diversity at all costs. We need to do whatever it's necessary, and I will do everything I can to maintain that diversity in all elements of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Walker, candidate for District 6 Supervisor. I think that how we develop determines whether or not we gentrify any place in the city. I think that we have to actually do some real enforcement. We have to do some definitions about what it is that we build. I think that we really need to look at a cap of market rate units versus affordable units. I see Mark Solomon there, who's a big proponent of a cap on market rate units. Our ABAG, our Associated Bay Area government requirement for building housing, is that we build housing to house our citizens. 70% of the city are renters. They're below market renters, and we build almost, maybe if we're lucky, 15 to 20% of our units as affordable. That's it. That is not enough. That's not going to give us a diverse city, and it's also going to result in just gentrification. So I actually support coming down and putting some really strong, high numbers for affordability requirements on new development, and then we can get together and figure out how to pay for it, because money, about affordable housing and about building. It's all about where you find the dollars to do it. We need to lobby the state and government to help us out here. One of the things that's true is that our infrastructure needs rebuilding. Our waterway system, we need to prepare for an earthquake. We need to prepare our shoreline for water rise. All of these require development mitigation. That's how we pay for things. Unless we're better at coming together and working on affordable housing bonds, unless we come together and actually change how we fund affordable housing, which many of us are talking about, but we need to have higher levels. We need to have at least 50% of the construction that we do able to house people who need assistance with subsidized housing. So I support it, and I think that you need somebody in this district and in District 10 who will stand up to developers. I've done that. I will continue to do it, and that's what it's going to take to get the right level of housing.
Thank you.
So again, gentrification is not doing anyone any favors in the city. Definitely when I was out there signature gathering, it was much harder to get past the brushed steel exteriors of the new condos in the South of Market. And I don't really see how that is adding to the community of San Francisco. Whereas if I was in the Tenderloin, I met lots of people who were involved in their community. So I think we really need to look at how we've already gone. In the 14 years that I've been here, the city has changed dramatically. I think that one of the things that we need to do, we're talking about funding for housing, I think microloans, again, are a great way for working families and for the working poor to actually own a part of the city and stop the gentrification before it takes over and give them their due. How we are treating people in this city is a crime, okay? You cannot have these people sitting on the streets. You cannot house the mentally ill in shelters any longer. You want to know why the streets aren't safe? Because we're not taking care of people, and gentrification is not adding to that care at all. So we definitely need a moratorium on housing until the affordable housing limit has risen to a place where everyone is housed.
Hi, James Keys again. Oh boy, this has been a lot of fun this afternoon. Yeah, you know what? Gentrification is going to happen in 100, maybe 200 years. I'm not going to be around then. And maybe some of you guys might, but I'm not going to be. Yet until that time, what we need to do is what I've been doing. I sit on the San Francisco Mental Health Board, and we have awarded monies to TNDC to build 990 Polk Street. We have awarded money to CHP to build Parcel G at 365 Fulton Street. It's not talking about what's going to happen in the future or what we might want to do. It's what we do now that will stop gentrification. We need to make sure that all of the SRO residents are getting the buy-in. And that buy-in is that we get you moved out of that SRO and into your own apartment building. And it's not, we need to just get you a new bathroom. We need to get you a new home. We need to make sure that you feel a part of the neighborhood. And that's when a natural gentrification will happen. That's when you become a part of the neighborhood. Not, I'm just living in this little SRO room. It's like, I have an apartment and I am a San Franciscan. And with James Keys, you're going to have that because I have that planned for you. I will make sure that each and every person has a place to live and can live in San Francisco. Go ahead and laugh, baby. With dignity. Thank you.
Shane Kim again. Well, let's talk about how actually a lot of the folks in this room have prevented gentrification already from happening in San Francisco. In a lot of neighborhoods, we fought for things like height restrictions, right? That has prevented gentrification. These are the kind of things that we can think about because it's not worth it for landlords to tear down old buildings and build new ones if there are height restrictions. They're just not going to make enough profit if they can't build, to 20 stories or 15 stories if we limit them to 5 or 6. Other ways that we have managed to prevent gentrification. Many of the SRO, many affordable housing buildings have been bought or are now managed by nonprofits. Those buildings will continue to remain permanently affordable. This is some of the good work that a lot of organizers and a lot of residents in our neighborhoods have done. What I do want to see, though, is not gentrification, but what we need is economic development. I really want to see us do a vacant storefront initiative. We have $80 million in HUD funding that we can use to give incentives to small business, small independent businesses to come into mid-market, to certain corridors in Tenderloin, on Folsom, to build independent businesses like what we see on 6th Street with the partnerships of groups like Urban Solutions. 60 to 70% of new jobs come from small businesses every year in this country. And we know that the jobs that we lost in the economic downfall are not coming back. This is a time for us to encourage entrepreneurship and actually help people find loans from the city, actually find storefronts, connect them, and actually get through the bureaucratic processes so they can start to own businesses and hire people in the neighborhood. A lot of these businesses hire people from around District 6 and Passion Cafe, which is a business we cite a lot. 80% of their employees are hired within 8 blocks of their restaurant. So this is the kind of thing that we want to see. We don't want to see gentrification. We want to make sure that we're working on land use policies, we're working with nonprofits, and we're funding organizers to actually do education work and bring residents into the democratic process and engage them so we can all develop policy on how to prevent that, but bring in economic development so we're bringing in jobs and vitality to our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Residential land use opportunities.
So that concludes the